A small research team was working on a boat near the coast of Beaufort Inlet, North Carolina. Their job was simple: scan the ocean floor using sonar equipment to map out what was beneath the water. It was a calm day, and they had done this kind of work many times before. But something strange showed up on the screen. One of the sonar images showed a long, straight shape lying deep under the water. It was too perfect to be a rock, and it wasn't alone. Around it, there were many other strange objects, some large, some broken, all scattered in a wide area. The shapes looked like they had once belonged to something important, maybe a ship, maybe something even older. The crew didn't say much. They had a rule: don't jump to conclusions, no big announcements, no calling the news. They just marked the location on their map and saved the sonar image. Still, there was a quiet feeling among them, a gut feeling. This wasn't just junk on the ocean floor. Something had been left here, and whatever it was, it had been lost for a very long time. No one knew it yet, but this quiet discovery would soon lead to one of the most important underwater finds in American history. After the strange shapes were found under the sea, the research team sent their reports to the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, a government group that protects old, important things. After reading the report and seeing the sonar images, the officials gave the team permission to take a closer look. Soon, a team of trained divers joined the project. They put on their diving suits, checked their oxygen tanks, and slowly went down into the water, one by one. The sea was calm, but visibility was low. Still, what they began to see made their hearts race. At the bottom, they found wooden beams, old and worn, but clearly once part of a ship's body. Nearby, they spotted ropes, or what was left of them, tangled and buried under layers of sand. And then they found ceramic pieces, parts of bowls, plates, and jars that looked like they were from the 1700s. These weren't just random trash. This was history. Then came the biggest surprise: cannons. Big, iron cannons, some more than 8 feet long. They were heavy, covered in sea growth, and stuck deep in the ocean floor. The divers carefully marked each one. Some were lying on their side. Others were still half buried, almost hidden by time. But one cannon was different. It was unusually heavy, even for its size. The way it was balanced felt strange, as if something was inside it. The front end, called the muzzle, was tightly sealed. The team began to wonder, was this just an old warship, or was there something more mysterious about it? They didn't have answers yet, but deep in their minds, one thought kept coming back. This was no ordinary shipwreck. The team had been working for weeks. Finally, the day came when they were ready to lift the largest cannon from the ocean floor. It was the same one that felt heavier than it should, the one with the sealed front. The crane on the boat was ready. Ropes and slings were tied tightly around the cannon, and the divers gave the signal. Slowly, the 2,000-pound iron cannon began to rise. Water poured off its sides. It was covered in barnacles, small sea creatures that had made it their home for over 300 years. Rust and salt gave the metal a dark, reddish color. The cannon looked old, powerful, and tired, like it had been sleeping deep in the sea for a long time. As the crane brought it onto the deck, the crew stepped back to make space. Everyone watched closely. Then, a sound. Clink, clink. A faint metallic rattle came from inside the cannon. The crew looked at each other. It wasn't the sound of loose sand. It wasn't a cannonball rolling around. It sounded like something else, something hidden. People didn't speak much, but the air was tense. What could be inside? Tools? Or maybe just a piece of broken metal? No one knew for sure, but now they were more curious than ever. Because of its strange weight and the mysterious noise, the cannon was not sent to a regular storage site. It was carefully packed and shipped straight to the Queen Anne's Revenge Conservation Lab in Greenville, North Carolina. There, experts would begin the slow and careful process of cleaning and studying it. But even before it was opened, everyone had the same quiet thought: this cannon might be hiding a secret. At the Queen Anne's Revenge Conservation Lab in Greenville, the cannon was placed in a special room. The experts there, called conservators, had a big job: clean the cannon without damaging it and carefully find out what was inside. This process is called deconcretion, removing all the layers of rust, sand, salt, and marine life that had built up over hundreds of years. It takes time, tools, and a lot of patience. When they reached the sealed muzzle, the front of the cannon, they drilled gently to open it. And then it happened. Clink. A tiny metallic sound echoed from inside. Then another. Clink, clink. Everyone in the room froze. The sounds were clear and sharp, like metal touching metal, but it wasn't the sound of a cannonball. It was smaller, lighter, and more delicate. Very slowly, they opened the casing at the front of the cannon. Inside, to their complete surprise, was a sealed container made of lead. It was dark, bent, and covered in layers of green and black corrosion. It had clearly been hidden for centuries. The conservators carefully opened the container, and their eyes widened. Inside were dozens of gold coins tightly packed together. Some were Spanish escudos, others were French louis d'or. Both types of gold coins used by rich merchants and royal families in the early 1700s. The coins were real. Their markings were clear. Most were dated between 1700 and 1712. Experts believed the gold had once belonged to merchant ships and was later stolen by pirates. Maybe it had been hidden inside the cannon on purpose to keep it safe, or maybe to keep it secret. The room went completely silent. No one said a word. Later, after careful counting and study, the coins were given an estimated value of $2.7 million. But to the people in that lab, the money didn't matter as much as the feeling. The feeling that they had just touched a piece of real pirate history. Finding gold coins inside a cannon was a moment no one would ever forget. But after the shock wore off, something else arrived. Something less exciting but very real. Lawyers. Soon after the discovery, legal teams from different places began asking questions. Big questions. Important questions. Who really owned the gold? Some said the coins belonged to France, since the ship was originally French, La Concorde. Others argued the treasure could belong to Spain because some of the coins were Spanish. A few even suggested that maybe descendants of the ship's original owners had a legal right to the gold. To make things more complicated, the wreck was found in U.S. waters, just off the coast of North Carolina. That meant local laws had to be followed too. Because of all the confusion, a judge ordered a temporary gag order. That meant no one was allowed to talk about the gold in public. Not the team, not the lab, not the government. The discovery had to stay quiet until everyone agreed on what to do. After months of meetings and paperwork, a decision was finally made. Under North Carolina state law, all shipwreck finds in its waters belong to the state, so the gold officially became state property. But behind closed doors, the state made a private agreement with the salvage team. The deal was simple. The team would be allowed to keep 20% of the total value of the gold. The rest would stay in government hands, to be protected, studied, or stored. The profit, about $500,000, was quietly divided. Some of the money went to pay the researchers and divers for their years of hard work. Some went to the lab and the university. Some was saved for future shipwreck projects. A portion of it helped pay for coastal protection programs and scholarships for students studying marine history. No one got rich overnight, but for a few people it made a real difference. The gold coins found inside the cannon were never shown to the public. They were too valuable, too special, and too tied up in legal agreements. Instead, they were quietly stored in a secure place. But the cannon itself, the heavy, mysterious iron tube that had hidden the gold for over 300 years, was cleaned, restored, and proudly displayed. After years of careful work, the cannon was finally ready. It was placed in the North Carolina Maritime Museum in the town of Beaufort, not far from where it had been found underwater. Now it stands in a special room, strong and quiet. But if you look closely, you can still see the marks of time. Next to the cannon, there is a small metal plaque. It doesn't say much, just a few simple lines. Recovered from Beaufort Inlet, one of 30 cannons raised from the Queen Anne's Revenge wreck site. Nothing about the gold. Nothing about the secret it once held. The lead container that had held the gold coins is not at the museum. It was taken to a secure storage vault in Raleigh, the capital of North Carolina. Only a few people know exactly where it is. The coins inside are protected. Still, people come to see the cannon every day, children, students, history lovers. Most of them don't know the full story, but some do, and they stare a little longer, because they know that sometimes even a quiet object under glass can carry the weight of pirate history lost and found. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And let us know in the comments where in the world you are watching from. We love hearing from all of you. Thanks for watching.